Please join with me in a moment of prayer. O gracious God, your love endures forever. Please let my words that I speak be truthful to you, and allow your meaning and my words to coincide, so that way we may continue to be on this path and on this journey. Amen. So, picture this. It's circa 30 CE, or for some of you, AD. You and your friend Mary are walking up to the tomb of your shared friend Jesus. As you are walking up to the tomb, the earth shakes, and an angel appears and rolls a stone away. Great fear shakes you to your core. But then the angel says, "Do not be afraid." Tonight we worship as if we were walking up to the tomb of Jesus. The woman could have fainted like the guards, but they did not, because God knew one of the disciples would find the empty tomb and be afraid. But God sent the angel first to say, "Do not be afraid." Another of God's messengers, Moses, told the Hebrews, "Do not be afraid." Moses and the Hebrews had much to be fearful of, escaping oppression, and then they knew that they'd be homeless. "Do not be afraid," Moses gave the Hebrews reassurance. He said, "The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to keep still." The faith of the Hebrews, however fragile, and we know it was fragile, as it is for many of us, waited for God to act. All the Hebrews had to do was stay calm, and God parted the Red Sea. God made the impossible possible in the lives of the Hebrews. As you should know that those excerpts were from Moses in Exodus 14, chapter 14, 13 through 14, which actually is a little bit before our reading. There is much to be afraid of today in our day and age. The homeless and the hungry are afraid they will never eat again. The struggling business owner is afraid of losing his business and not being able to send his children to college. The cashier at the grocery store is afraid the bus will make her late to work. The college student who has to take up public and private loans to pay for college is afraid of defaulting and leaving the debt to his family. Some are afraid of being robbed, beaten, and killed. We are scared into hiding and scared into not living. But God promises us something new. God promises us a new heart and a new spirit, as it says in Ezekiel, so that way we may live anew. Jesus' defeat over death is the loudest. Do not be afraid. It is the loudest because why else would a guy say, "Now travel to Galilee," which is 68 miles away from Jerusalem, where Jesus died and was risen? For me, that is what really speaks loudly, is that not only did Jesus say, "Do not be afraid," but he said, when you go out to Galilee, which is a 3 to 4 days journey, don't be afraid. Have faith, have trust in me. Borg and Crossan wrote that the word believe in ancient times meant trust. So when you say, "I believe in Jesus," what we should mean is I trust in Jesus, which we sort of have today. I really do believe, I trust, we are to trust Jesus because he came to set us free from death, as it says in Romans. that we are now dead to sin. And being afraid may not necessarily be a sin, but acting out of your fear certainly can be. Jews and Muslims know too well what fear produces. It produces terrible and horrible things. Fear also produces some of the most heinous crimes within our city, because people are afraid that they're not going to be able to eat. So we lash out and we rob and we get angry and we blow up because we are afraid that we will not eat. We are afraid that we may never know when we will eat. But I think there is something that we need to remember. We need to remember that Jesus in our New Testament is about giving life. But we also need to look to the Old and remember that in Psalms 56, "Be gracious to me, O God, for people trample on me. All day long foes oppress me. My enemies trample on me all day long. For many fight against me, O Most High. When I am afraid, I put trust in you. In God, whose word I praise, in God I trust, I am not afraid. What flesh can do to me? All day long they seek to injure my cause. All their thoughts are against me for evil. They stir up strife, they lurk, they watch my steps, as they hope to have my life. So repay them for their crime, in wrath cast down the peoples, O God. You have kept count of my tossings, put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your record? Then my enemies will retreat. In the day when I call, this I know, that God is for me. In God, whose word I praise, in the Lord, whose word I praise, in God I trust, I am not afraid. What can a mere mortal do to me? My vows to you I must perform, O God. I will render thank offerings to you, for you have delivered my soul from death and my feet from falling, so that I may walk before God in the light of life. Words from the old and words from the new remind us that we shall not fear death because we have been liberated from death. We're reminded that we are not afraid of death, which means now we can start to liberate others who are hungry. We do not have to be afraid of being called a socialist when we ask, why are people poor? We do not have to be afraid anymore. Even though our hearts may be filled with fear, we are told, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Our new heart and our new spirit means when the world is all shaking all around you, do not be afraid. Live. 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 Hallelujah. And amen. Can I get an amen? Because we no longer live in fear of death. We now live to liberate others. Right? Amen? Amen? I want to hear another amen. Thank you.